I concur.
Ball's in your court, William.
This man is dead, yet his neurological data is still accessible. We are going to take his biological brain, imprint it into that synthetic brain, replicate the human mind. Ed, boot the mapping sequence.
We transition to a child transitioning into an adult robot body.
What?
That's right, Marcy, a terminally ill child, is going to have her consciousness transferred into an adult female super robot that she's going to name Wendy. And they transfer the consciousness of children into other adult robot bodies and call them the Lost Boys.
Well, the idea here is, of course, this particular corporation is helmed by a young Elon Musk-like genius, name of Boy Cavalier, oddly enough, who is using only terminally ill children for this experiment. The idea here is these kids are going to die anyway, so subjecting them to this experiment, they'll be able to live on in perfect android bodies that will never age or fail, all well and good. And yet the question I have is, how do they know it's really the kids and the androids? Seems much more likely to me the children's brains are being copied digitally onto the hard drives of these androids, their memories, a very convincing simulacrum of their personalities. But unless you can actually transfer their souls, then all you're doing is killing the kids and creating extremely good copies of them. How can you transfer a consciousness when you can't identify it, can't pin it to a surgical table, can't photograph or record it? It's an extremely disturbing notion, and the same problem exists with the transporter in Star Trek. Unless somehow Federation science has identified the soul and knows how to convert it into energy, then every time someone beams down for the first time, you're killing them, disintegrating the original and reassembling a very good copy at the other end of the beam. James Blish introduced that disturbing argument in his book, Spock Must Die, and it has haunted me ever since.
Enter Wilder Penfield, the bold brain explorer of the 1900s, zapping awake patients during surgery. He sparked flashes of sight, sounds, old memories, but never true thoughts, choices, or the fire of free will. When he took his electrode and stimulated areas of the body that sparked movement in the hand or the leg, for example, the patients would respond by saying, "That's not me moving, you did that." Proof, he said, that the brain runs the basics, but the mind's magic, reason, dreams, who you are, that floats free like a spirit unbound. His final words in a dusty book: the mind isn't just wires and sparks. It's bigger, bridging body and soul, defying simple science. Now, modern mysteries pile on. No hideout for consciousness in the brain's maze. Cut out chunks like the cerebellum, and awareness shrugs it off. Split the brain in half, the self stays on, unbreakable. Dive into wild tricks.
There's some guy playing a piano, and then this dancing purple gypsy woman comes out, and it's like I've known her for lifetimes. Like, I've spent thousands of lifetimes with this woman, and it's just been a while since I've seen her, and we saw each other, and right away I was like, oh my God, it's so good to see you. And we caught up for a while, and then when the DMT was wearing off, she told me that everything was just going to be okay, and that all of this just keeps on repeating itself over and over again, so not to worry about it too much. We got sad that we were going to have to split up and I was going away again, and so to cheer me up, she just spun around and exploded into fractals that turned into like bats and different creatures that became everything in the universe, and then it became me, and I was everything, and then it got sucked back out, and it was just her spinning around again. She's like, see ya! And I got out of it, and I was like, okay, well, that was weird. But that's DMT for you. There's always weird stuff like that happening, and you're interacting with these strange beings. The next night, I went and I gave DMT to a friend for his first time. He'd never had DMT, and I didn't want to ruin anything by sharing anything about the experience with him. I wanted to go in there fresh. So I told him, here's this bowl, just smoke it for as long as you can. So he starts smoking this bowl and he's coughing a lot. I can't tell how many hits he's getting. And I'm encouraging to keep going, and now he's having like 8, 10 hits. This is more than what I expected him to do. And he sits back and he just goes, I had too much, I had too much, I had too much. So it's a minute and a half in, and he's still going, I've had too much. And I'm thinking, he might have had too much. Then finally, he sits back, this smile comes on his face, and he is just like, oh, they love you here. And I was like, yeah, there's like a real sense of like love or going home or belonging or something. He's like, no, they love you, Shane. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he goes, there's this purple woman in here that says that she knows you really well, and she just wants you to know that she cares about you. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I'm in this carnival, and there's this Ferris wheel, and this guy playing a piano, and there's this purple dancing gypsy woman that says that she knows you. I didn't talk for about 10 minutes, and then he got out of the experience, and I asked him about it, and he said that these little mechanical elf things scattered, and they were scared. He was scared of them. They were scared of him. When he heard my voice, they all started peeking out, and they're like,
is that Shane?
And he was like, oh, you guys know Shane? And they were like,
oh yeah, he comes in here all the time.
And that's when this purple woman came out and said that she had a message for me. I have no explanation for it. I've seen that purple woman at least 5 or 6 times. Since that, we have this strange relationship. She gets jealous of my girlfriend sometimes. And so I think I'm dating a woman in a different dimension, but I don't even ever remember her name. I'm pretty sure we've known each other for thousands of lifetimes.
With mushrooms or deep meditation, the mind explodes with wonder and brain buzz fades low. The electricity generated by the brain throughout the brain goes down during these psychedelic trips. But consciousness expands. Memories, there are no solid memory stamps in neurons. You can stimulate all you want, but you can't find specific entire memories anywhere in the brain. You take a worm, you cut off its head, but memory remains. It's still up to its old tricks. Even brainless blobs like slime moles solve puzzles. Plants think ahead without a single nerve. Brains, tiny or smashed. Mice outsmart giants. Kids with skulls full of water and something like hydrocephalus, their minds remain sharp as knives. Cut away half of a brain in a desperate operation, kids bounce back. 80%, they get rid of their seizures, they walk, talk, even can crack jokes with only a part of their brain. One girl had an entire hemisphere resected since babyhood.
I have half a brain. When people meet me, they have no idea. I only remember my very first seizure. I was at my daycare playing, and the next thing I knew, I was in an ambulance.
We hightailed it to the hospital and just watched her. She had another seizure the next morning, but nothing that they did worked. The doctor explained that the only way they could treat it was to take out the half of the brain that was affected.
Life now with half a brain is, for me, is no different than anybody else. I've been married 4 years. I live on my own with my husband. I'm really glad my parents did what they did.
Critics say, well, that's because of neuroplasticity. The brain can rewire, and that's true. However, if half a brain holds the full you, the mind's no prisoner of the flesh. It's a filter, a gate for something eternal. Upload it to code. Can you upload the self, the mind to code? That's going to be a problem, because the mind is apparently a combination of the invisible self, you could call soul. We have the invisible self that is working in conjunction with the material self, the brain. They work together. So we can copy the material self all we want. We can decode its messages. We can figure out how to turn that into a digital signal. However, will we be able to actually transfer or even copy the mind of a person into something mechanical or even something fleshly? Can we do that? The answer is probably not, because we cannot copy the invisible self. And until we can figure out what's going on here, there is virtually no hope of replicating the mind of a person.